So we're big, we're bad, we're back. We're dressed in blue, not black, with the IK Multimedia Precision 6 Mark II. Feel like we did the Mark 1s with present day productions. We definitely did some IKs with them. And we've got one of our Academy members, Andy Tullis, who's been doing using all the precision stuff for an immersive system, which, if it hasn't already come out by the time this video has come out, will come out soon. There's a couple of companies, IK Multimedia, of course, being one of them, that is bringing down the price point so that, you know, we can have speakers at a far more affordable price point. There's been a lot of conversations about the fact that speakers now that are like $1,000-ish, or even less sometimes, are just as good as speakers that were like $5,000 30 years ago. I mean, technology has come a long, long way, an enormous amount. Okay, isolation pods. Okay, great. We'll put the isolation pods on the meter bridge up there. Look at that. A mic stand and the mic for the correctional software. That's one of the things that IK has pioneered. Obviously, there are loads of independent companies that create the software, but IK have been doing their own. Dun, dun, dun. There they are. Do you like the look of these? Again, very substantial. So we've got boost and cuts here. So this is a selection. So you can boost and cut pressing a button. Well, we're going to see once it's powered up what it does. There's a USB connector. Oh, that's the ARC mic in. So this is great. Speakers are plugged in. Everything is set flat. I want to listen to them without us doing, you know, any treatment. So we haven't calibrated it yet. So this is all just about me listening and seeing what they sound like flat in the room. Also, because how would I know whether it's better with the calibration on or off? I've been in here a few times and tracked, and the baby Genelecs are good for me because they sound like Genelecs. And the ATCs sound great. And so I'm just going to do a quick listen to a track that I recorded myself, so I know it really well, maybe a couple of different tracks, which is great. Because if it's something you know and you recorded, especially a song that I recorded in my own room, I'm going to know how it should sound. So I'm going to go to How to Save a Life and just listen to the drums on the out. I do this all the time for those of you who follow us. I'll start with the baby Genelecs just to clear my mind. I'll save a life. I mean, sound fantastic, tight. Obviously don't have the big low end on the kick. What can you expect? But they are, by the looks of it, the same driver side. Precision 6, 6.5 inch. Okay, so 6.5 inch ultralight coated paper, low distortion mid. So it looks like they both have, to my naked eye, exactly the same size drivers. It looks like the tweeter is larger, but the drivers are the same. They're saying it's a 45 to 30 hertz frequency, 30 kilohertz, sorry, frequency response. The low frequency extension -4 dB. Anyway, the point is, like a kick drum where I would have boosted it at about 60 hertz, which I did with the Yuri 546 when I was printing the kick drum on this song, should be pretty evident if it's claiming a plus or -1 dB at 45 hertz. Let's see. Let's go back to that Genelec again. If I was mixing on the Genelecs in here, for instance, I would be referencing songs that I knew to see how the low end should sound. I wouldn't be anticipating that I'm going to get 40 hertz, you know. All right, so let's go back. Select the iLouds. From flat, a little bit of extra lows, just a tiny bit. You know, there's no EQ setting done to this whatsoever, but there is a tiny amount of extra low in there. The other main difference is, just listening to the kit only through the two speakers, is the mid-range. The Genelecs have a lot more 700, 1K, like mid-mid. Like, well, I suppose 700 is technically lower, but like that pure mid-range. There's a little bit more nose to the Genelecs than there is to the IKs. So with everything set flat on the IKs, at least in this room, on this console, on their ISO pucks, it sounds like not as much mid-range forwardness of the Genelecs. Now, what does that mean? It doesn't mean anything, because frankly, it might mean that the Genelecs are a little bit more mid-range forward and the IKs are flatter. But that's the characteristics of the speakers in this room. Did my little listening just to kind of get an idea of what it was like beforehand. We'll go back to the calibration. So position number 1. Okay, so keep the calibration. Preset button pressed for 3 seconds. Switches the speaker into calibration mode. The cal LED on the back will start blinking together with the front LED. All right, I'm going to try and go under the console here. And I'm going to have George move the microphone. So press for 3 seconds until it flashes. I was blinking on the front. Okay. That's it. Let's move to the next position. Let's do the second one. Excellent. Next position, please. Apart from me climbing under the console, it's actually not that difficult to do, is it? So I'm going back to some Trevor Hall here. Going to listen to some stuff with bass, just kind of feel how that changes. This was kind of the pop track off this album. As you can see, it's not what most people would consider pop. But what's interesting about it, of course, is it's got a stand-up bass, a double bass, contrabass, whatever you want to call it. Hey, little girl, why can't you sleep? Split into hemispheres, that's where we be, yeah. You're with the moon, yeah, I'm with the sun. Now, I know this is useless from the perspective of an internal mic here, so my gut is that the low end is much better on the IKs. The high mids are very pronounced. The sort of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and above are like very dancing around. With the calibration, it's lessened it somewhat. From when I was listening before, I thought maybe they were a touch too bright. It's definitely brought it down. It's still living in the world of being bright. Is it overly bright? No, but it's the characteristics of the speakers. So I'll come running, girl, if you... Like the vocal is super forward, all of that stuff. I'll be on my way back to you. I'm going to go back to Genelex quickly. With you by my side, girl, they can't fool me. Yeah, like ocean and water, like fire and heat. Honestly, the IKs win in this situation here. Now, there's no calibration on a Genelex in this room, and I have walked into 1,000 rooms in my life with a pair of Genelex and loved them, and they've never been calibrated. I mean, let's be honest, the whole calibration thing since SonarWorks, Sound ID reference, since that really has completely changed the game. You would go into really, really expensive rooms and they would have EQs. And then they'd be voiced. People would say to me, oh, you know, and they'd name drop a famous acoustical engineer and say that it was voiced by them. I'd hear all kinds of different stuff. But look, the access that we have to affordable things now is ridiculous. And when I mean affordable, I mean, yes, it might be $1,000 or $2,000, but it's not $100,000 or $2,000. I mean, the rooms that I have in LA cost an absolute mint to build, to be that flat. That's why Stephen Slate, you know, does the VSX in there, because they're flat rooms. But I think for me, the IKs are winning for this. The Genelex I love and I'm used to, but what's happening is that those mids, that sort of 700 to 1, not quite 1, 2, but that area, maybe 700, 1, 2, feels like there's too much of a kind of masking going on the vocal here, and the bass, which I'm always boosting, you know, that kind of mids, because I like that kind of like toughness. There's a little bit of masking going on, and it doesn't quite have the front to back. Now, does that mean if I calibrated the Genelex, they would come close? Maybe. Maybe if we ran Sound ID on them, or we got the new Genelex, which are obviously considerably more, they probably would do everything I want them to. But the characteristics of the speakers remain the same. The ones that are calibrated didn't bring them back to a more mid-rangey sound. They just lessened the brightness and extended the low end a tiny bit. Let's keep listening. Can't separate it. That's what you... I know you can't tell through here, but it's the ambience. Now, it's a kind of front to backness that I'm enjoying on the IKs. Years ago, I used to tune PAs. I used to do a lot of front of house, as well as recording and everything. I'm talking about, when I say years ago, I mean like 18, 19 years old to like 23, 24, 25. One of the things that always used to bother me on big PA systems was this build-up of like mids, especially all of the overlapping in the kind of 200 to 1K kind of area. And I'm very sensitive to that. There's certain manufacturer speakers that I cannot work with because they have a pronounced low-mid boost. I won't say who it is. Some people I know love those speakers because of it, but I don't. I'm sort of sensitive to that. I feel like it is something that's making the IKs win in this situation, and the calibration is working really well for me. Do some heavy stuff, or at least heavy by my standards, as heavy as I ever got. What's great about this song for me is it, not only did I record it, mix it, it is in my old studio. So the room tones, I know, the drums were done there, guitars were done there, vocals were done there, and I mixed it on the SSL. Let's start with the Genelex this time, because I mixed on Genelex in Laurel Canyon, this album. There's a snarl to those guitars. Some girls are pretty risky, and some girls taking this all. That is aggressive in the 2 to 3 kind of K area. Stephen was like sitting next to me when we were making this record, like, more 2K, more 2K. He loves that kind of aggressiveness. There's two things I like about this song, which are going to be useful for a speaker comparison, is that the guitars start very mono, not slap bang in the middle, but sort of panned like this, and then go left and right after the intro. So there's a nice kind of like whip thing that you can hear. You can do exactly the same place again, but on the IKs. Some girls are pretty risky, and some girls kicking this home. Okay, this is where they win. They win because no, it didn't. Personally, I thought they were going to like be far too aggressive. Didn't. Not only that, they also felt more in the place because it's Joe playing the main riff. I love that riff. I remember when he wrote it, it was at the Boneyard, and it was just like, I was like, that is a classic Aerosmith riff. I remember him writing it, and like I memorized it, and afterwards he's like, about 2 months later, we were tracking, and he's like playing the riff, and he's like, is that right? And I was like, yeah, because I memorized it. I went back and practiced it that night. When I go hard left and hard right, it feels much wider. The imaging on it is closer. Now, you're going to say they're slightly wider apart. Yeah, they are. So this is what I did, of course. I went like this on the Genelex and then pull back. I'll do it again. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. Any questions you might have based on the experiences I have using them, please let me know. You can put the questions down below. What are your favorite speakers? What do you use? What are you looking for in speakers? And do you, most importantly, use room correction? Thanks everyone. So long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, au revoir, adios, goodbye.